Tony Snow is the coordinator of Indigenous Ministries for Chinook Winds region and the Right Relations lead at Hillhurst United Church in Calgary. Tony's a member of Treaty Number 7 from the Stoney Nakoda First Nation in Morley. He's a direct descendant of treaty signers from his nation, and his father, the late Reverend Dr. Chief John Snow Sr., was the first ordained Indigenous minister in the United Church in Alberta. Be sure to check out Tony's conversation with Ben Wilson on the Six Ways from Sunday podcast. And here from Together We Worship, he shares some thoughts on Indigenous History Month.
During Indigenous History Month, we remember relationships. The first people of this land, their work, their knowledge, their relationships, their interconnections with one another, with all parts of creation, and with the Creator itself, the great mystery. During this month, we pay homage to the relationship of land and wisdom that held the two together in balance for millennia. We give thanks for a way of thinking different from our own, one that puts Creator and creation in perspective and gives us a better understanding of our place in the world, that we are not meant to dominate, but to live in harmony with the world around us, to give back as much as we take, and to respect one another above all. During this month, we give thanks for the perspective different from our own that opens up a new way of thinking about the world, one that we will need in the times ahead. So for this region, covered by the treaty relationships outlined in Treaty 6 to the north, in Treaty 7 to the south, and Treaty 4 to the east, we remember that promises were made, that Indigenous people from these territories continue to live out their promises. And through union and renewal, we begin a new relationship and new ways of being together, and healing the balance of harms that were inflicted upon our Métis brothers, sisters, and relatives from the Métis Nation of Alberta in Regions 2, 3, and 4. Restoring our ways of knowing with our ways of being the people to the newcomers from other lands as we welcome them to this treaty beginning. And in all ways remember that all are children of God. This month, we commemorate Indigenous History Month. This day began as a call for a day of prayer at the Indian Ecumenical Conference in Morley in 1971. The elders, Indigenous theologians, and community leaders gathered from across North America. Their first act was to commemorate where we were, who we are, to remember our ancestors, and begin building back our history and connection to the Creator with prayer. Prayer is an important part of our spirituality as Indigenous people. It initiates every act when we address creation, when we engage with it, when we take part in it, when we take from it, and when we give back. Every act is done with prayer. Prayer to the spirit of things, and all things have a spirit. Prayer opens us up and recognizes our relationships. When we take from the plant to make our smudge, we give thanks for the life of that plant and remember that it has offered itself to be a vehicle for our prayers. When we take the tree for the sacred Sundance, we give thanks for the life of that tree, for its willingness to help us do our work, to raise it up and remember the wonder of creation. When we pick berries, we do this in a prayerful way, taking the life of the fruits of the earth, that we may be nourished and that we will help to steward new growth for the berry bush. We know our role. We know our need. We remember what it means to be in relationship, to honor one another, even if one is a bush, a tree, a stone, a flower, a lake, or a rushing river. In European society, its form of Christianity placed man here to name the earth and hold dominion over all its inhabitants. Man picks the fruit, takes the bounty as an unearned gift, an unbounded privilege. For Indigenous people, we are only one part of creation, who takes parts, integrates the whole, and brings understanding to our purpose here. In traditional Indigenous teachings, we are made from the earth. We return to the earth. The earth is our mother. Its fruits and children, the animals, are our siblings. When we think of the earth, we think of wholeness that is complete unto itself. We are only one part of that story. The animals, the birds, and the waterbound all have their stories, all have their responsibilities, and each does its part, whether it is the song of the blue jay that opens the day for all the animals, or the eagle that soars as the gift of the morning light. Each animal has its character, its story, its song, its prayer. With this, each animal, bird, and fish lives according to the plan of the Creator. We too are called to live within this balance of creation, to live within its means, to never take more than we need, to share abundantly, and honor the voices of others that dwell upon creation. On this Indigenous month, let us remember these words as a prayer for our future, a prayer through the pandemic, a prayer into a new world of restoration, reconciliation, and beginning anew. Amen.